Arab weddings, brown weddings, Desi weddings are notoriously expensive. We knew we didn't want that. Here's how we had a beautiful wedding on a budget. Right off the bat, we live in Northern Virginia and I have a moderately big family. So no matter how hard we try, our wedding wasn't going to be under $10,000 the way we wanted it to be. So we did end up spending right around $25,000 to feed 150 people and have a good night. We were absolutely blessed to have that money gifted. But even still, we wanted to keep it within that range and we didn't want to exceed it. Though we could have with our money if we wanted to. Now, we didn't want to spend anything really on the wedding, but we also didn't want it to be like cheap for our guests. We wanted them to have a good time and we wanted it to look like we are hosting people and actually care to have them there. So the first and biggest place that you can save money at a wedding is at the venue and your guest count. So most Arab weddings I've been to are well over 300 people. I think the lowest I've ever been to was 250 and the highest I've been to was over 500, maybe around 6. We kept our list all the way down to 150 people. And this was easy for 2 reasons. Not easy, but doable for 2 reasons. So his family is a lot smaller than mine. So that was the easiest way, just having a smaller family naturally on one end. The other one was I didn't invite all the have to people. And to some extent, this did bring me a little bit of sadness because there's a lot of people in my community and my extended family that I love and I respect and I would have loved to have there to celebrate with me. But the truth was I wasn't going to do it just because people said I had to. I was going to do what made sense to our budget and to our lifestyles. It is just the way that we had to do it. It's what made most practical sense. And we had our closest family and friends there, and I think that was the best we could have done. So keeping it down to 150 people instead of extending that to the easy 200 we probably could have extended it to, that's the number one way that we got to stay within that 25,000. That's also the number one way that we couldn't get below that 25,000. It sounds like such a big number when I say it out loud. I mean, the wedding industry, like, oh my God, that's a whole nother story though. The venue is the second way that you're gonna keep your costs down. So it's choosing an affordable venue, which means you're probably not choosing your dream venue. I definitely didn't choose my dream venue. We went with, it's the Heritage Hut in Gainesville. It's like a country club or golf area in a 50 and over community. It is the cheapest place that we know around us. I did look around extensively at other venues looking for something that could at least be comparable and be more along the lines of like a dream venue, but in the Northern Virginia area, DC area, there's absolutely nothing. So we went with that. It was a little further out than maybe was convenient, but it was the best decision in terms of cost. We also could have done a ceremony in one room and a reception in another, but that would have been an extra couple of $1,000s. So instead we did like a mock ceremony right in the reception room. So choosing a cheap venue and reducing your guest count as much as possible are our top 2 ways to save money here. That's like the bulk of it all. But we took it further. So when it came to food, we didn't even offer steak as an option. We just kept it to salmon, chicken, and a vegetarian option. All 3 of those were about the same price, so it worked out really well. For drinks and appetizers, we're Muslim, so it was easy to keep it non-alcoholic and not have to worry about an open bar. That saves a ton of money as it is. For appetizers, I was team no appetizers. I was like, no one's gonna care. No one's even gonna be on time to see it. It does not matter. But I compromised. We did have some appetizers, but what we did was we made sure that we had enough to serve a fraction of the people versus the full 150 guests. I think we did like 60 servings for like the standalone appetizer table, and then 40 servings or something for the ones to be passed, and that way we kept both costs a little bit lower. Instead of having both feed the full 150 people, we reduced the cost on both ends, and it was fine. There was plenty left over. I would say if you're doing appetizers, don't get enough to feed your entire party. Get enough to feed a fraction of the party, a fraction of the guests, because you just don't need it all. People are going to be late. People are going to not even notice it's there. Some people are just going to want to not feel bloated in their dress, whatever it is. As far as other drinks went, like coffee and tea, we did do that unlimited for everybody, which I think was like $3 a person. So we did do that. Coffee and tea is really important to my family, so we made sure that that was there. Sodas and things like that, we actually did. We're not big soda drinkers in my family, but my husband's family did want that, especially if, you know, some of their side is more accustomed to having alcoholic drinks there. So for them, we did offer sodas, but what we did, instead of doing it unlimited or per person, we asked the venue if we could do it like kind of a la carte per drink per person who took one. And then we just paid that bill after the fact. So I do think that ended up being a better cost breakdown than had we just served unlimited amounts of drinks to everybody and included it that way. Doing it a la carte was cheaper. Flowers is another huge place that we saved money. I'm very proud of the fact that we didn't have any flowers. Like, we didn't do anything for flowers. Not a thing. I didn't have a bouquet. We didn't have any flowers. So that was nice. I don't know. I know some people would just like not want to do that, but that's what we did, and I didn't miss it. I think my photos were fine. Maybe I could see how a prop in my hand would have made them a little bit better. But yeah, I didn't miss it. It was totally fine without it. Moving straight into decor. So all of our centerpieces were from either my cousin's wedding a couple weeks earlier, and a lot of her stuff was from the dollar store, or it was from other parties, like a graduation party for her sister earlier that summer, earlier that year. Our centerpieces were mostly borrowed from her. And then we also use something called the Buy Nothing group. It's like a Facebook group for your local neighborhood. My sister uses it a lot, so she picked up stuff throughout the year from the Buy Nothing group, and we used some of that for our centerpieces as well. It was like greenery and little jars and things like that. I had this like big gold mirror that we just wrote, my sister wrote like the wedding of David and Lena, the date and all that stuff. So that was pretty. That was standing on one end. That was from the thrift store. So that was like under $20. The chargers, the napkins, the Chiavari chairs, those were all included by the venue, so we didn't have to worry about any of that. Even the table numbers were included by the venue, so we didn't have to worry about that either. One thing we did pay for was a decorator who did a backdrop. So we had like that mock ceremony and we wanted to do it somewhere. So she came in, she did a backdrop that had flowers on it, but I wouldn't consider that buying flowers because we didn't. We just paid for her. I think it was like $1,600. And she actually had included in the budget earlier this like riser. So we were gonna pay like $3,000, but then I told her, take the riser out. We don't need it. Just do it on the floor. And that brought the cost down. Yeah, maybe like $1,600 or $1,000 or something. So that was nice. We used a decorator that we knew was a budget decorator in the area that my siblings had used for past weddings, my cousins had used for past weddings. She's just the best cost option because she's a small business owner. So going that way was our best bet. Now, was it my dream decorator? Absolutely not. Was it my dream like setup? No, but it was good enough and it was beautiful and people liked it and it covered all the bases we needed it to cover. It was a little like ceremony area, it was a photo area, and it was just pretty. Your eyes drew to it. So that was all we did there. All the signage, all the photos, that was all self-printed. All of our picture frames were from the dollar store. I printed our like big photo that stood on a little easel at UPS or something, like a FedEx maybe. Those were all kind of budget. Other vendors where the cost really starts to add up as well are your photographer, your DJ, yeah, your decorator. So the photographer, we went with a family friend. I wouldn't call it budget, but he was a family friend. He did all of my siblings' weddings. I hope he doesn't watch this video, but he's also not my dream photographer. My dream photographer was much more expensive. I just accepted that I could not use her for our wedding, and that was okay. So we went with the budget photographer. The photos are meh, but they're good enough. We have a lifetime to take other photos. And then I just kept our ask kind of low. So we just did basic photos and we did a highlight video, and that was it. The DJ is someone that was recommended by our photographer. He was also budget. He has a full-time job. He's not a full-time DJ. He was great too. We loved him. Actually, I don't think I'm supposed to share the price publicly that we paid for him, but when you build relationships and connections with people and you get people from within your community, I do think that's the best way to go for finding a more affordable photographer and DJ. Our dress and our suit were both paid for by family and gifts by family, which was really nice. We didn't really go above and beyond in spending, but there's nothing you can do about the high costs sometimes of a dress and a suit. However, my shoes were from Shein and my jewelry was, like my earrings, were from my senior year of high school. Had them forever. My hair I did myself, which sometimes I regret, but I don't regret doing my hair myself. I regret not spending more time on it. and settling when I really didn't feel like it was done. So I saved on my hair, I did it myself, and my makeup I actually did splurge on, but in hindsight I wish I didn't. I don't think it was like really worth it, but I went with a makeup artist that I had used in the past that we really liked her work, but I think people, whenever they hear that you're a bride, they just do too much. And I should have been more clear about the fact that I didn't want that. But we did splurge on that. Favors. So we didn't really save on favors. What we did was in lieu of favors, since I feel like they always get thrown away or no one really wants them or they get left on the table, in lieu of favors, we donated to several charities. And while you don't really save because you're still giving to charities, you do feel like you've allocated the costs in a more responsible, better way, but also you know exactly what you're spending and how much you're putting towards that. So we did that. Extra ways we saved money, little things we did a bubble walkout. Instead of doing the lighters or the like sparklers where everyone holds a sparkler as you walk out, as you exit, we did bubbles, because the sparklers you also have to buy sand and you have to get a bucket to put all of that out, and I didn't want to take the extra steps or the extra money to pay for that, whereas buying really cheap bubbles off of Amazon was like 20 bucks and that was it, and that was the end of that. So cheaper than sparklers, still really cute, still kind of different, easy. I'm Palestinian. Normally Palestinians have henna, which is like a party the day before the wedding. We chose to forego having a henna. For our out-of-town guests, they just went to the house of the families the day before, if they were there the day before, and ate at the house of the families. I didn't have a veil, I didn't have any new jewelry, my shoes were from Shein. Those are all ways I saved visually. I didn't spend anything extra on like skincare, I didn't spend anything extra on anything. Leading up to the wedding, I said, this is my face, it's been good enough for me for this long, it'll be good enough for me moving forward, right? I would say the biggest saving cost, and it's true, it is the venue and it is the food. Saving there when you can, but the extras add up, and saving on the extras really made a big difference. I wanted to have a donut wall, but I was like, you know what, I'm just not gonna have the donut wall. Even that extra $200 to make one or rent one was just not worth it for me. I knew our guests didn't need it and they wouldn't miss it if it wasn't there. Of course they would enjoy it if it was, but they wouldn't miss it if it wasn't. So we didn't do any of those things, and it was nice that the wedding was a little bit on the smaller end for us at 150 people, so that it could and we had a great DJ, so that it could be a lot of fun and everyone could kind of get everything out of it by dancing and enjoying it that way. So not a ton of interactive pieces, but I think the dancing was really interactive and everybody was up and on their feet, so that's free. And that was really nice. I do think if you are looking to have kind of a more budget wedding, the best thing you can do is take a look at your extras. Take a look at all the things that you, quote, dreamed of, and ask yourself why you dreamed of it, and is it really necessary to have your dream night? My wedding was probably one of the best nights of my life, maybe. I don't know. I mean, it was fun. It was the most fun I've ever had. I mean, it is true what people say, that like all of your friends and family are in one room and they're celebrating you, and it feels really good. It's so much fun. It's so amazing to look around and see all the people that you love. I was really tempted to say, like, let's just skip the wedding and save money, put it for a down payment on a house, but there's a value to having it. We had it. It was great. Every dollar we saved was absolutely worth saving every dollar, and every dollar we spent, I would argue, was worth spending. I mean, by the end of it, we had no choice but to spend it, right? We had saved on everything we could. We had not done whatever we could not do. People are very quick to say, you should do this, you have to do that, and I ignored all of it. I was like, there is nothing I have to do, there is nothing I should do, except for the things that I believe I should and have to do. So that's probably my biggest disclaimer. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do, and there is no shoulds or shouldn'ts. There's just what people have done and what you have enjoyed that people have done, what you haven't, what you can afford, and what you want to prioritize. Drowning out the noise was massive. There's so much that I chose not to share with family and friends until the day of the wedding, because I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do what's best. Other people don't understand the way that the cost adds up, or sometimes they do and they just say it's worth it, but a lot of people don't. I really truly believe that there was a lot of people who said you have to do this, you have to do that didn't understand that we were already at our max budget that we were comfortable spending. So adding anything extra, whether it be a bouquet or a veil or unlimited sodas and drinks for everyone, or unlimited appetizers for everyone. They truly did not understand that that cost was only going to keep growing, and it had already grown to a place we were comfortable with. Whether it's family traditions or cultural traditions or whatever it might be, there are no you have to or shoulds or shouldn'ts. You get to choose, right, what you want to carry on. And we chose to carry on prioritizing budgeting, not spending everything that we didn't need to spend on one single day, like a few hours. I also didn't buy anything extra, like not the robes, not the day of cute getting ready outfit. I personally didn't get any gifts, maybe I should have, for my sisters or my mom. My bridesmaids, which were mostly my cousins, were not really the people whose love language is gifts, so I didn't do it. Now, my husband's family did feel like they had to get the groomsmen something, so that was them, and they got gift cards for the groomsmen, but that I didn't do it for me because I just knew it wasn't necessary. My family's gifts, my family's love languages are, time spent in quality time and acts of service and things like that. So I didn't get any gifts there, and I saved a lot of money doing that. Didn't get any of the bride accessories that I just felt weren't necessary. You do save quite a bit of money on not doing those things. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. That's about it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.